There we go.
Immediately gone.
I thought I fixed it. We're good. Did you say I'm just gonna smack him?
Simon.
They sure did. Yep.
Yeah.
Simon. Got it. Okay, cool. Well, I don't know why. What did he ever do to you?
It's gonna be more than a smack. And don't even ask what he did to me. Don't even ask, because we'll fight. But listen, that PAX U panel's looking more and more real every day.
You're not wrong. There's been a lot of interest.
Wait, which one is this?
The Fight Your Friends.
The panel that I put together where you have to fight everyone that you said you were going to fight over the course of the year in all of your games.
Let's fucking go.
I came up with the idea specifically because Elsie and JT kept threatening to fight people. And I was like,
And
this is
each
the
other.
panel. This is the panel where you have to follow through.
Yeah.
I'll do it. I'm
Shut
ready.
up, baby.
You got to stand on business.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do it, and I'll let people who can't make it tag me in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, so maybe it'll happen. Who knows?
So does that mean we're getting a Q will throwdown?
I don't think I've ever said that I would fight Q.
I've said I fight you.
Yeah, that's true.
So that part is locked in, babes.
That's an interesting question. I don't know if it has to be mutual or not.
Oh, fair. You have to accept the challenge.
Yeah. That's interesting. I mean, yeah, we could.
Okay.
Will has categorically refused to fight me every opportunity we've had,
Yes.
and it's getting a little old at this point. You gotta commit.
It's been a long time since it's come to that.
That's so good.
Not since college.
Since college, but still,
It's fair.
it's owed.
You choked me.
I did choke you.
You choked me out the last time I said that I would not fight you.
I did. There's photograph. And then Tim came to, I think, was coming to your defense. I don't know if he
That's
just wanted to be included or if he was trying
Hard
to
to
help.
say.
I
Hard to
think he
say.
just wanted to be included.
The conversation was just Julia was like, fight me. And I was like, no. And she was like, I'm going to put you in a headlock then. And I said, okay. And then she did. And then she started choking me.
We were very drunk and hard.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I have the full context of what all of that means, but I just love that you said that out loud on stream to people who do not have any context.
This is a wild
Context has been given.
It
We
was
were
in
in
the
college,
graveyard.
we were drunk, we were in a graveyard.
Oh, I forgot about the graveyard part. Yeah.
That's
fair.
That was primarily the part I was saying I had context for. Like, that was reasonable and rational from my perspective.
I mean, I would say that like 60% of my college stories take place in that graveyard.
I mean, yes, correct.
Yeah.
It was a popular landing pad.
Mm-hmm. It sure was.
amazing.
That's how I used to get back to campus after drinking. I would cut through the
Where were you drinking?
what is that Irish bar?
Oh, the Irish bar. Yeah, I know what
Yeah.
you're talking about. I can't remember what it was called, but
I
yeah.
want to say O'Connor's?
Yes, it was
Yeah,
O'Connor's.
that sounds right.
I would drink at O'Connor's, and then I would walk back
Yeah.
through the graveyard, and I would just by myself, and I would just out loud say what I would do if somebody tried to come up to me. I'd be like, "This is exactly what I'm gonna do."
Do you
approach me.
remember? Do you remember the time that I ran into that woman in the graveyard? It's a good story. So there was a graveyard attached to the campus where Julia and JD and Steph and I and a bunch of other people involved in LFTA all went to college. Not all at the same time, but there was a graveyard attached to the campus, and it was kind of a shortcut to get into town. And I was walking one night when it was really foggy and really overcast, and I stepped into the graveyard, and I think I had headphones in. And then out of the fog in front of me comes stumbling this very pale, very thin girl wearing not enough clothing.
That's a ghost.
Like arms crossed across her chest, shivering. And she walked right up to me, and I froze because I was like, this is how I die. This is a ghost. This is how I die, clearly. And I froze. And she walked up to me, And she didn't make eye contact with me. She was like looking right past me. And she said, "It's so cold." And I was like, uh-huh. And then she just like kept walking, and I waited like 10 seconds for my brain to reboot. And then I was like, hold on, ghosts aren't real. That's a real person. I should check on them.
Yep.
And then so I doubled back and I asked them if they were okay, and they were just, it turns out that she was just very drunk and had like, I guess, gotten into a fight with her boyfriend off campus and like wandered into the graveyard. So like I got her to like back onto campus, and I called public safety, and they figured out like where she had come from. But like for like 30 seconds to a minute there, I was like, this is how I die.
This is the ghost.
This is the end.
Gosh. That is so good.
Yeah.
It's valid.
See, I couldn't be doing that. No, I gotta go. It's so cold. You right? Yeah.
Been out of there.
It's terrible. Anyway, that was the graveyard. Well, hello. I guess we can go ahead and get started. Hi. Hello. We are live from the apocalypse. If you've never caught us before, we are a not-for-profit TTRPG studio that makes actual play content like streams and podcasts to raise money for nonprofits and aid organizations. And we are currently raising money for Doctors Without Borders and the very important work that they're doing in Gaza. 100%. Yeah, I did have a freeze response in that. But also, like, you can't fight a ghost. You can't fight a ghost.
Not without salt.
We were watching a lot of Supernatural at this point in college because it had not ended yet. I didn't have rock salt on me. Like, what was I going to do? I was just out walking.
You shouldn't be carrying that rock salt, my guy. You were in a graveyard.
Yeah. I left it back in my dorm.
You gotta stay ready for ghosts.
Mm-hmm. Stay ready. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready.
You're not wrong. I did fully freeze in that moment. God, what, yeah, we're raising money for Doctors Without Borders and the very important medical and humanitarian aid that they're currently giving in Palestine. We have hidden the subscribe button to make it easier for you to donate. Seek it at your own peril. Also, we ask that you don't. We ask that you don't subscribe. Unless you feel it absolutely necessary, we ask that instead you donate to Doctors Without Borders. Instead, if you have an Amazon Prime subscription that comes with a Prime sub on Twitch, it doesn't cost you anything extra. You got to put it somewhere. Why not put it in us? Aside from that, if you do that, the beloved Dimension 20 Dungeon Master Brennan Lee Mulligan will kill a dog. We'll kill one dog for every month you've been subscribed to this channel. It's been a while, actually. It's been a while. Since I checked to see if my Prime sub has lapsed. So while I sign in to Twitch, what else do I have to talk about? If
what
you
game
donate,
are we
playing? We're playing Class Reunion. I don't think I'm there yet. Am I there? Yeah, I guess I pretty much am. We're playing Class Reunion. This is a game about a group of high school students from Ohio and one of their roommates who have been trapped in a fantasy world for 10 years. And who they have become, and now they're trying to realize their epic destiny, whatever that may be for them.
I appreciate that you don't even include Lindsay in that. You just include Kira.
That's true. I guess I don't know what to say about.
You mean
I don't. The word pay pig has been bandied about far too often on this channel since we introduced Lindsay Ardane.
I was just gonna say the living furniture piece, but sure,
that works too. Oh God!
Listen,
just fucking rip it, baby.
Widower,
slop that down, dude.
It is disrespectful.
One for the big boy.
We're telling the story through the lens of history.
Yeah, just fucking grip it, baby. Slop that down, dude. Crack one for the big boy.
So many sounds are happening at me all at once. The ad started playing. Oh wait, does that mean that my
means you last?
sub? Doesn't. Those aren't words.
It was fun.
Man, we are struggling. No, I think I am subscribed. I guess maybe Twitch is just like, oh no, there it is. Yeah, okay. Yeah, this is what happens if you subscribe instead of donate. Got to give it a second, but we'll get there.
Not happen.
It'll happen. It'll happen. Also for the advantage. Oh, that's right. All right, fine. I'll give you some advantage.
I'm absolutely going to make sure we get our advantage. Because you
fair.
pointed out that we had one, and I
That's
don't
fair.
like that.
I did point that out.
Bullying.
It's because JD's a real one.
It's true. Since day one. Oh, right. You have to do this.
You are a sick son of a...
There it is.
Gonna kill that dog.
Oh my God,
How many dogs? How many dogs, you
the bad
monster?
guy.
That's
You.
31.
The bad guys.
That's a month worth of dogs plus one. Or just a full month. Because sometimes months have 31 days.
That's true. A month of dogs.
Sounds like an indie movie.
It
Month
does.
of
A month
dogs.
of dogs, yeah. Easily.
Well, I honestly think what it is, Alex, is they're pretty much all Prime subs. I think most people who do the subscribing just have the Prime sub and are willing to throw it our way. I've checked before, and I don't think there are any active non-Prime subs on the channel. Like occasionally someone will do one, but it doesn't usually last for very long.
Yeah, nobody's putting real money into this.
No, otherwise it's just the donations. But it's a good bit. Yeah. If you don't have Prime, that makes total sense. But it does not cost you anything. It's free real estate, as they say, if you have a Prime sub. So, like we always say, got to put it somewhere. And I think with that, we can go ahead and get started. I think that's pretty much everything we have to talk about. So we can get on into our game. Oh, you can spend channel points on the emotes. We made them as cheap as they can possibly be. I think you cannot make them any cheaper. Yeah, I think they cost like 80 channel points to unlock, and that's as cheap as Twitch will let you make them. But you can unlock them with the XP. All right. So, with all of that being said, I think we're ready to get into it. I meant to check before we got started, but I believe, unless I am mistaken, that'll work. When we left off, it was the day before the council was going to be meeting.
Yes.
And a lot of things had taken place. Y'all had split up to accomplish various things. I know that Lindsay was going to the library.
Lindsay was going to socialize.
But then the lobster car took out the power lines.
Monster truck, took out the fucking transformer.
Yeah.
I think,
which is something that happened in real life, not in the game, if you can believe it.
yeah, so I think maybe Munter was going to the library, but
that
Kira,
does sound right.
Kira was going to the tailor shop and then Tamberley.
Yep.
Munter, I think, was supposed to go to the library. Lindsay was socializing, and then Kira stopped off to try to touch base before he went to Tamberley's.
Yes,
and
to find Lindsay, I believe.
Yeah, to find
and
Lindsay.
Then you found someone else instead.
Yep.
So it's the next day.
No.
I'm sorry?
It's the next day.
No, I'm sorry. Miss Kuzi?
What do you mean?
No, what do you mean?
Kira. You wake up the next morning.
I hate that because I don't sleep. Hate this so much.
Okay. You trance though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you emerge from trance, we'll say. In your room, in your appointed quarters within Calderon Keep.
Okay. So that's strange because I didn't have any of those. So I'm gonna get up and see where I am.
For sure, yeah. You so you would have been provided accommodations. You would have at least been informed about the accommodations within Calderon Keep. They're basically the same rooms that you all had before. I think probably, yeah, for peak angst, we can say that Kira was given Wayne's old room.
How dare
I think
you,
that's only fitting.
How dare you? So like from walking in and then speaking to Merlin,
Yeah, I know. Mirrodin, yeah.
Yeah, Mirrodin. Yeah, hero in both realms. Where he would have told us about having accommodations because we like talked to him and then we left. So
you did, yeah. I guess I think it might have been an offhand comment, but I think also it was made clear to you all last time that your rooms would be available. Like your trip to the south was never meant to be permanent. It was always assumed you would come back eventually.
Sure. Sure.
But maybe that's why it's so strange that you are here in Wayne's old room.
Yeah, especially because I wasn't here with them where they went south. This is all confusing.
It
also,
is.
What do I remember of last night?
That is a great question.
I thought it might be because I've lost a whole day.
Pretty much, yeah. Mm-hmm. You remember being at the market, the open air wine bar, looking for Lindsay? You remember speaking to someone. You remember having a drink. You remember the taste of wine. That's about it. Also, we didn't do our introductions. I just realized.
We did.
We did not.
True. I wasn't going to say anything. Everybody we were just locked in really quickly.
That's fair. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to go find, I think, Kelly.
Okay.
And also check on Lindsay, I guess. Would Lindsay even be here? Munter?
That's an interesting question, and I don't think so. But you can try to find Kelly, certainly.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and find Kelly.
Okay. It is pretty early. I think Kira, you, like we established, don't sleep, but are still kind of an early riser. To be sure, and Kelly. I mean, I do think that is a.
No.
I do think that is a funny question. JD, where do you think Lindsay would have ended the night?
You know, that is a valid question. I think that depends on Kelly. And if she let him sleep at the foot of her bed.
No.
On the floor.
No.
If Lindsay came back to the keep last night and like spoke to Kelly would have found him somewhere to be. Yeah, she wouldn't have just like abandoned him to the like defend for himself, especially because she kind of does need him in this like power play against his dad. So she would have found a room for him. Maybe it would not be in our same like wing or whatever.
I mean, there are definitely other rooms in this like block.
Yeah. So if there was space in our wing, I would keep him in our wing. But like, yeah.
Okay.
Like, I do need him for what's to come. So I would have, found him someplace to sleep.
Don't let him roam around where he might meet Marius.
No.
I mean, he's gonna meet Marius eventually.
Eventually, yes, but he'll meet Marius in a social setting with lots of people where he has to behave.
Who?
Yeah, which one?
Interesting. Okay, interesting and good. That all makes sense. So then I guess, yeah, Kira, when you step out into the hallway, you see a row of doors. I don't know if you know who's staying where, but I think there are enough details in the room that you came out of that you can recognize that it was Wayne's room. I think probably, if nothing else, on the desk there would have been like a rough little like carving into the wood of the raging mammoth with his signature also like carved in underneath it. And then like, was here, WZ WUZ HERE. And he might have left behind some personal effects.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I think Kira will run the silver hand, just like a finger of the silver hand, along the etchings in the desk. Is there something small enough where he could just like wrap a cord around it and just keep it around his neck?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Trying to think of what that might be.
Fair. Trying to not make it gross and be like, it's a mouth guard.
Ooh, could be a mouth guard.
Why would you speak that into existence?
Could be a mouth guard.
Because listen, it's a hockey thing. I don't know. I know.
It is. Yeah, I mean, I think honestly, what you might find like sitting on the edge of the table, I think what I'll say, I don't think anything like this exists in real life, but fuck it. I think what you find is maybe like a cheap little plastic ring, like what you might get out of a cereal box. But it's like decorated. Basically, it's a Wayne Gretzky like decoder ring from a cereal box.
Gotcha.
Has like the jersey number and the colors and everything like that.
Cool.
And
so
you would have seen it, before.
Definitely strapping a little leather cord on that, and it's around his neck. I'm gonna go out and see who's around. Even if I have to start knocking on doors, I don't particularly care.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think knocking on doors fits. Hello. Hi, welcome, Raiders. Welcome on in. We're playing some D&D this morning. This is class reunion. We appreciate you stopping in. This is an isekai game about a group of high school students from Ohio who have been trapped in a fantasy world for 10 years. And we're happy to have you here. We're just getting started.
Thank you for not saying "and the roommate."
I mean, listen,
especially after what you just did.
It's only funny the first time.
It's fair.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I think listening in, because I've got good perception. I kind of want to listen for Avalon.
Okay. Interesting. I think that's fair. Roll perception.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. 26.
26 is very good. Yeah, I think Avalon does have a very distinctive snore. It sounds a little bit like thunder, like distant thunderclouds. A little bit of there's like a crackling quality to it of electricity that you can hear from behind one of the doors as you're going down. And I think also it's probably fair to say that you can hear regular human snoring coming from a different door.
Okay. Then knocking on the door where I hear Avalon.
Okay. And Kelly, you are woken by somebody knocking on your door.
It's fine. I detangle myself from the situation with my new pet, my new friend, my new companion.
Hold on. He's sleeping in the bed with you?
Why wouldn't he? I carried him around.
Because he's a deer dragon. He's at least as big as you.
Irrelevant.
He's baby. I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't know why you keep saying this, Will.
I don't
know.
So
confused, Will.
I don't. What about Kelly's behavior towards Avalon has made you think that I'm not gonna let them sleep in the bed and baby them?
People cuddle with dogs all the time.
He's bigger than a dog.
Okay.
There are giant
big
dogs.
Some dogs are horse size. I don't know what to tell you.
All right.
Yes, he's in the bed.
Yeah, he's in the bed. You detangle yourself. You open the door?
Kelly does the thing that she always does when she opens the door, which is opens it halfway with the knife in her hand and the other one. But yes.
All right.
Not changing anything about her behavior.
Her like knife behind the door jam.
Yeah. As always.
As always, absolutely. Cool. So then, yeah, you answer the door and you see Kira on the other side, which does not seem unusual, except that it feels on the early end of the spectrum.
Is everything okay?
No. When did I get back?
I don't know if I saw you come back. Did I? No.
Not that you can think of.
I don't think. I don't know if you came in while I was still getting ready for today or after I went to sleep, but I didn't see you come in.
I'm missing a whole part of yesterday. And then I woke up in Wayne's room.
Oh. Did something happen at the tailor shop when you do you think Dion?
No, though I did let them know to expect you. But I went to go find Lindsay before I went to go speak to Tamberly. And then the rest is sort of blurry. I remember wine.
Oh.
And that's it. And I don't drink, really. I don't drink wine.
It's not really your poison.
No.
Well, can I make like an Arcana check or something to suss out how much of this sounds like shady shit and how much of this sounds
it definitely sounds like shady shit.
I mean, it sounds like shady shit. I mean, does this sound like I don't know. I guess the question is, did you ever find Lindsay? Like you weren't like drinking with Lindsay, right?
No,
Lindsay can
I
drink.
didn't find Lindsay. Mm-mm.
Okay. Um,
I mean, I don't think you have to make an Arcana check to know that this sounds like there was some degree of magical influence involved.
Magical fuckery.
Yes.
I'll say it.
Bullshittery,
Yes.
as it were.
Yeah, Justin,
had
fucking
fun.
grip it and rip it,
Thanks,
baby.
Will's mom.
Slop that down, dude. Shit, yeah, dude. Crack one for the big boy.
Thanks, Will's mom.
Yeah, Justin,
had
fucking
fun.
grip it and rip it, baby.
Why are we
Slop
getting
that down,
double
dude.
alerts?
Shit, yeah, dude. Crack one for the big boy.
I mean, that's fine. But thank you for the donation to Dr. Love Orders. Oh, cool. What is happening? Well, this is fun. I'm still here. Things are happening elsewhere. I don't know.
That's not true. We have to check the room.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. Kira did hear snoring.
It's true. I'm gonna check in on that. Hello.
Hello. I think we're back. I don't know what happened, but I think we're back.
Okay, just randomly said, "Nah, I don't want to."
Yeah. Yeah, I have no idea what happened. The bit rate dropped to 0. But my internet is still connected, so I don't know. Let me put the message in chat. Okay, just told everybody to refresh. If they are not seeing us, we are back. Yeah. So y'all were discussing what you were going to do.
Right.
Yeah. So this seems to be fuckery. Well, I guess we should try to find Lindsay, but we should also try to find out if you ever actually made it to Tamberley's.
Sure. Whose room
maybe
is that? And he's just gonna point back to the room where he heard the human snoring.
Is that where I ended up stashing Lindsay?
Yes, that is the room where you ended up stashing Lindsay.
Then yeah, that's him.
Okay. Well then, do you want to go wake him up? I can if you want.
Would you mind? I don't want to deal with him quite so early in the morning.
Great.
Sure. I'm gonna get ready for the day real quick. I'm gonna put
the urge to just kick the door in is strong, but Kira resists.
Do it.
No, because I don't want to do damage to the castle. But I will walk in. Lindsay.
So, I mean, first of all, I think the door is fully unlocked. I do not think it was properly secured in any way, shape, or form.
Doors unlocked, all money and valuables piled on the table by the door, as is Lindsay's habit.
I feel like Lindsay did the thing you do when you're drunk, which is like try to get ready for bed and then just give up at some point. So, like half out of his shirt, just kind of tangled in the blankets, a complete mess.
I do love that for you. And I think at this point, we have to pause in the present day and jump back to last night when, Lindsay, you returned back to Calderon Keep. Your family, your father in particular, has apartments in Calderon, obviously. but you know that Kelly was going to be staying at the keep, and of course you want to stay close in case you're needed, in case you can be helpful. And so I think it was as you were in your cups and returning back to the keep late at night, that you bumped into Kira and the handsome stranger they were in the company of. Someone you had not met before or seen before.
And I think Lindsay, as drunkenly as he could, surveyed the situation, raised an eyebrow that it looks like Kira's bringing someone home this soon after Wayne.
We all grieve in our own ways.
But did have the tact not to comment on that.
Mm-hmm.
And instead just ask Kira. You're increasing the things you are threatening me with, Q.
This threat isn't all for you, JD.
No? I'm not even saying anything. This is JD.
This is me.
We all grieve in our own ways. You shut your whore mouth.
Well, that's just true.
Oh.
But yeah, I think he just would have asked Kira how his night was going and who he was with.
And you might have noticed Kira also appeared to be a little bit drunk. At least as far as you could tell, Kira's... well, why don't you make a insight check, actually? A retroactive insight check. Doesn't look promising.
That was a 2, so that's a total of 6.
Okay. Total of 6. Yeah, I mean, Kira, his gaze is a little unsteady. He's almost being, like, led by the hand by this handsome stranger. And just kind of gives you, like, a bleary look when you speak to him. But the stranger will interject and will say, I'm afraid that he's had a bit too much to drink, and I'm just helping him get to bed.
And what is your name? I don't believe we've had the pleasure.
Well, no one of consequence. But I do want you to make a persuasion check, I think, if you're going to be dogged about this.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That is a dirty 20.
That's very good. Are you pressing the issue when he deflects?
Definitely. That does feel cagey to me.
It certainly does.
That feels sus right now.
He'll give you a wide smile and he'll say, my name is Simon.
No surname?
No.
No family to give you one?
I'm afraid not. None that I care to use any longer.
Well, I would be happy to get Kira back.
Oh, I appreciate that greatly. Kira and I just happened to bump into each other, and I was planning to come around and say hello to an old friend of mine who's also staying here at the keep. Kira tells me that he's returned.
Which friend would this be?
Max Miller.
Lindsay has no reason to think that this is unusual, and so I think if anything, given that low insight check earlier anyways, he would just be like, that sounds wonderful. I'm so glad that you're going to be reacquainted.
Yeah. And he says, thank you. And I really appreciate you taking Kira off my hands, putting him to bed.
Of course, Kira, which room are you staying in? We'll find you a room.
Simon will put a hand on your shoulder, Lindsay. Say, you're a good friend. They are lucky to have you.
And Lindsay will put a hand on Simon's shoulder and look into his eyes and say, thank you. That's all I want to be.
The rest of your night, very uneventful. You put Kira into what you might not realized at the time is Wayne's room. And
that tracks.
Went to bed yourself. And are now awoken by the door swinging open and Kira entering your room. Though you probably can't see anything at first because I think we established your shirt is like half on, half off.
Yeah. Absolutely. Lindsay is struggling to manage to get the shirt properly on or out of it. He's not really picky at this point.
Slow down. Choose which direction the shirt needs to go.
Kira, good morning. How are you feeling? I'm not feeling great. That might have been a few cups of wine too many.
Yeah. We're going to go do some investigating because I don't remember half of my night.
You were very drunk, Kira.
No, I wasn't.
You were. I saw you.
You saw me when?
When you were coming back here, you were with a new friend.
I don't have new friends. I have a lot of you. So who'd you see me with?
No, he's like one of us. He's friends with Max.
Who's friends with Max? I need you have to be more helpful. Who's friends with Max?
All I want is to be helpful. He gave me his name. Started with an S. Sharon, no. Simon.
Does that bring anything back for me, Will?
That's an interesting question. And I don't know how much Simon has been talked about while Kira has been around. He hasn't been particularly relevant.
No, however, he did introduce himself to me.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Yeah. I think when Lindsay says that name does ring a bell, and you remember a very handsome stranger giving you a big smile and saying the words, "My name is Simon."
Tall,
handsome,
dark skin, handsome. really big smile, like annoyingly charming smile, punchable face.
Charming smile. I wouldn't describe his face as punchable. I might describe it as other things, but not punchable.
What you said you saw me with him.
Yeah, he was bringing you back here because you were drunk.
I was not drunk. I can't get drunk.
I think it's
Really?
fair to ask at this point, Kelly, did you follow Kira to Lindsay's room?
Yes, I do think Kelly did try to at least she didn't get fully dressed, but she did get more presentable to be in the hallway and did come in.
Then we can say that at this point you're kind of entering the conversation and overhearing this exchange.
I'm sorry, did you say Simon isn't?
That's what he said.
Yeah.
Is Simon one of us?
He said he was.
Simon is the reason why Lindsay's father is on the council at all. Simon's everything that's happened here recently is kind of Simon's fault. The drugs, the deaths, Alec McMorrow's death. He tricked us. He tricked Max. He used to know Max. But he works as part of the cult of the sleeper, which is the same thing that the head of Barrow was on about. It's a lot. It's a really complicated and long fucked up series of events, but he's bad news. You saw Simon, Lindsay?
You said a lot of words there that I have a lot of questions about, but you said he's bad news, and oh, that's probably not good. He said he was looking for Max.
You didn't tell him. You didn't tell him where Max was, right?
He said he already knew. He said that he knew that his old friend Max Miller was back in town. But he was walking Kira back here.
He come in.
Yep.
Lindsay just nods.
Oh,
where's
Max's room? Where's Max's room?
And you burst into Max's room. Sure enough, it is empty.
I remember him introducing himself. And then nothing after that.
He's bad news.
I'll say that when you got the flash of the name, you remember that he asked you to join him in a drink.
Mm-hmm.
You said
and
no.
I said no, and then I drank.
Yeah, and then he was very persuasive, but you don't remember exactly what it was he said.
Mm-hmm.
It almost didn't even matter.
I went out looking for you, Lindsay.
You couldn't find me?
I wanted your help speaking to Tamberley.
I would have loved to help you do that.
Calm down. And I went someplace where you were supposed to be, and you weren't there anymore. And then this Simon said that he'd seen you, that you'd been taken off somewhere.
That doesn't sound right.
It didn't sound right then either, no. But he said that he could tell me about it, but first I should sit and have a drink with him. And I declined because, one, I didn't know him, and two, I don't really like wine.
Well, that's a tragedy.
One thing at a time, please, Lindsay.
Too close to blood. And he was persistent and persuasive, so I remember sitting and listening to what he had to say. Not that I remember any of it. I don't think that was really the point.
No, I think the point was probably just to use you to get in here.
Yeah.
Let's go wake up Mirrodin. The Simon was linked to the dust, the sand that was driving people insane, and is what allowed that. Was trying to allow the sleeper to get a foothold here, and Mirrodin helped with that last time. So. And Kelly has no qualms, as per always, going and banging around on Mirrodin's door.
That's fine. That's fine. Yeah. I mean, you know exactly where Mirrodin's quarters are. You've been there many, many times. I think that you know that Mirrodin's study is very close to Mirrodin's quarters, like right next to them. And when you bang on the door of his room, you don't hear anything from inside, but then the door to his study opens. And you see him standing there. He has dark circles under his eyes. He looks like he has not slept, like he's been up all night, maybe longer. He looks a little crazed before he sees you all and registers that it's you. And then he just kind of goes back to looking tired and says, "Well, how did it go?"
Interrupted.
Marius and I have an understanding. I don't want to get into it with you right now. I think you won't be happy with the stakes. Simon's back, and he may or may not have walked into this keep and abducted Max.
His eyes close, and he holds up a hand. Says, "Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you come in, at the very least?"
Yeah, this is not a hallway conversation.
You enter the study, shuts the door behind you. Simon has returned.
Yes.
And either he has Max, or Max never came back to the keep last night. Those are our only two options, and neither of them bode particularly well.
But Max is still in Hunter's body.
Yes.
We simply do not have time for this.
I know. We never do. But I don't like the idea of having to fight a war on two fronts, the Dagda and the Sleeper. Three fronts fighting Mansardane.
We're fighting my father?
Lindsay, I'm kind of always fighting your father, aren't I?
That's true. Yes. That's why I like you.
Hmm.
Right. We are going to have to figure out what our priorities are.
Can you stall the meeting?
I cannot. If the meeting takes place today, if the vote takes place, and Kelly is not present, you won't be cast out, but the idea that you'll get enough votes to stay is wildly unlikely. I'm sure Mance will twist it and make some case for if you don't even care enough to show up, you certainly don't care enough to be a part of the council.
Is he in town yet?
I assume so.
Wayne had a way to locate people or objects. He used it before. Is that something you can do?
I can try. The question is, will the magic be able to find Max and not get confused by the fact that he is in Hunter's body?
Then just look for Hunter.
But the same problem persists. Is it
The gun.
Hunter or is it
The gun.
Max? Or
Look
is
for the
it
gun. Look for the gun.
Sure.
the what?
Hunter has a gun. Hunter has us, honest to God, gun. He-
Wildly out of pocket sentence, honestly. You could try, yes. But there is no shortage of firearms to be found in Calderon.
No, but it's not a caster, it's a gun.
Which are produced by Barrow. They're not magical, but they are made. I'm just saying that it's maybe not as sure of a thing. We are going to have to prioritize. Like I said, we are going to have to make a list of things that we cannot wait for. And unfortunately, this meeting of the council is one of them. Aside from that, securing the vote to ensure that you are accepted as a member of the Council of Calderon. There's the matter of finding your Danan ancestor still and speaking with them.
Council and Max come first.
The council comes first.
I have to be there. You have to be there. I would like Lindsay to be there, but if Lindsay and Kira can be better suited to finding Max.
Do you have a lead? Do you have any way to pursue this other than just sending them out into the street to wander around idly?
Simon, what happened to the boarding house?
It was closed. I mean, as far as I know, it's unoccupied.
But is it watched? Is it monitored?
I doubt it these days. It's been months.
That would be a place to start.
It could be. Would he be stupid enough to go back there?
Right under your nose? Maybe.
Maybe. My point is that if you two go out into the streets and start looking around, going to be looking for a needle in a haystack. Is it the best use of our time?
What are we going to do? I can't go. I'm not going to be in the council meeting.
I kind of needed you to be... I need you to be the witness and character reference to Mansardane's behavior if he tried to use mine against me.
Okay.
He threw you in prison and sold you to a horrible into experimentation underneath Lamplighter Tower.
You've also lived on the forefront of the battleground that he's trying to create and seen firsthand the tensions mounting with the Orn.
Fine.
I know it's hard. We can't do anything for Max right now.
Fine. But as soon as this is over, as soon as this meeting is over, that is the priority.
Very well.
It's not just one person in danger in that situation.
It's not. But Simon has been out there for months as it stands, since the disastrous summoning that took place here in the city. He hasn't made a move yet, as far as we're aware. We have no reason to think... We have no reason to think that Max plays any part in his mission to awaken the sleeper. At the very least, we've no reason to think this is any more than an obsession for him.
Yeah, well, his obsession puts Max and Hunter in danger, so I
I'm not
don't
denying
care
that.
about why. That's not my concern. Okay, so Tamberly. I never got around to it, apparently.
I'll have to try to speak to him before the meeting starts.
Okay.
You have a few hours.
And do you want to go and try and speak to Dion?
No. If she is anything like who she has presented herself for the last 10 years, she'll wait. She was always very patient with me. Before.
Sure.
You're certain you're not just running from a difficult conversation?
If this difficult conversation takes more time than we have, then it shouldn't go in front of my very tightly scheduled meeting.
I don't disagree.
I would like to at least be there for that one.
Of course.
I have questions on behalf of my people, so.
I think given the events and the way that they have played out, and the tensions mounting, and the weight of the meeting today, would be best for you to stay together.
We'll see if Tamberley's here. If he hasn't arrived yet, we will go to his home and see if we can converse there before he arrives.
It's likely that you'll find him at his home. I am scheduled to take breakfast with several of the other council members. It's a way to try to sway them to our side of things. Tamberley declined the invitation.
Thank you. We will go there.
Mirrodin, with all due respect, you may want to put on some under-eye concealer before then. Freshen up a bit.
Who is
Just
this? Why is he
suggestion.
speaking to me?
I introduced you to him yesterday. This is Lindsay Ardane. This is Mance's son.
I must have slipped my mind.
Just,
That happens a lot.
I think there's just going to be just a quick elbow to Lindsay's just the stomach, just kind of like, oh, hey, look, Hopper. Just,
We will.
I understand your concern for your friend. And I understand that it may make some of the other conversations that you are to have today more daunting and more difficult. But please remember what rides on this. If we fail with any of this, we go to war. The kingdom will be in direct conflict with the Danan. And if we don't have the secret to turning them mortal, we will lose that fight. I am fond of Max. But I think if Simon wanted him dead, he would have done it a long time ago. And as long as he is alive, there is hope.
All right. We don't have a lot of time in any case, so. Lindsay, please go finish getting dressed.
Of course, Kelly Violet.
All right. And
does he
once
see your full name like that every time?
He does. Yeah. No, yes and no. He if he is talking to me directly, yes, he does. If he's talking about me, not always.
What did you do to him?
Listen, it's a lot. For a long time he didn't even know my last name. My first name was Kelly. He just thought my name was Violet Rue. Like he thought. And then he learned that I had an actual name and he was very excited that he got to use it. And so now he just uses it. And I didn't do
You
anything.
did something. You did something.
I introduced him to one of I don't know. I never stole his shoes. Maybe that was it. Maybe I never stole his shoes. I stole his money. I knocked him off his horse. I tried to teach him how to use a gun. It didn't go well. He would always put the gun on the saddle and not on himself.
Oh.
He never got it. He never got it that he needed to keep it with him.
Mm-hmm. 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 I mean, well, he's here, so there's that.
Yeah.
Lindsay, he's here.
He's Lindsay is a lot of things. But he is honest.
Sure. That he is. And we're gonna need all the help we can get right now.
Lindsay.
Tamberleys.
I was gonna say, I actually need to step out real quick. Someone is trying to call me.
Okay. We can take a quick break. Call it like 5 minutes.
Yes.
And then circle back. Cool.
Yeah.
We will be right back. Don't go away. Stick around. See you real soon. Let's go. All right. Yeah. So, where were we?
We were getting ready to go
Talk
meet
to
up with
Tam,
Tamberly.
but you said Lindsay.
Yeah.
Did I say Lindsay? Oh,
Yeah, we
you
sent Lindsay to go get dressed. Kira and Kelly
I
had
said
a little
Lindsay, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I just wanted to check
ominous.
in. I just wanted to check in on Lindsay. I just wanted to see how Lindsay's doing with everything.
I mean, Lindsay is coping just fine. There's a lot of big things happening that he is now hearing about and has no personal stake in, except for the fact that, it involves the entire fate of the world. So, that
a lot of this involves your
father.
father.
It also involves my father. But that's for later. We have other things to deal with first. So that is going in a box.
Okay.
To be looked at later on.
All right. Fair enough. Well, once you have removed, once you're not wearing just a nightshirt, and you are prepared to go out and face the day, and you meet your fellows out in the hall.
Oh, and Lindsay looks like perfectly well kept at that point. Like, not a hair out of place, shaved. You don't know how he even had the time to do that, but he looks picture perfect to be out and socializing. None of the mess that you saw.
Almost like magic.
Almost like magic.
Fantastic. And so, yeah, you can set out into Calderon itself, descend the steps from the keep and out into the city proper. You can probably make your way over to Lord Tamberley's house if you want. You probably don't have to go very far. His house would be definitely higher up in Calderon, so not obviously to the same elevation up the steps as the keep itself, but I think you can make your way over there. I think it maybe catches you a little bit off guard how hard it is to find the place, because you have to stop and ask directions a couple of times. And with a lot of the lords and a lot of the noble families of Calderon, and the kingdom in general, who keep homes here in the city, they've been built into the steps themselves. They've been built as part of that sort of cascading infrastructure that leads down into the city itself. But to get to Tamberley's residence, the Tamberley residence, you kind of have to skirt around the steps. And you probably have to ask for directions a couple of times, like I said, before you would be directed to almost a path where the city starts to be a little more overgrown. Like, there are orchards and things like that up here on the steps, but this is a little more wild, and it's more just like a wooded path that's been cleared. You have to walk around. Kind of leads around the circumference of the steps towards the back of it. And the woods grow a little bit thicker as you do so, and a little more wild. It's not the well-kept orchards anymore, like the carefully sculpted topiaries or anything like that. It's more like a little forest here within the limits of the city itself. And the path eventually opens up into a much wider one that is well cared for and clear and leads up to the gates of a very old and old-fashioned, I would say, manor set back here into the woods. Expansive grounds that similarly are well cared for, very elaborate gardens, but also, while everything is well in order and looks very good, it's still a little bit more wild than the other gardens that you see throughout the city. And I would say that this looks more like a home. A lot of the other houses and places you pass, it looks like the kind of place where a family might go on vacation, where someone might stay while they have to be in the city on business. This looks lived in and loved.
All right.
What would you like to do?
I guess go up to the front door. Is the gate? Yeah, just
The gates are open. There are gates, but they are open. And nobody is there to stop you as you walk through them and start making your way past those gardens and up to the front door. Eventually, it turns into almost like a sandy gravel, like around the front of the house. But making your way up the steps, you find the doors, and that there are knockers set on each one, shaped like the face of like a screaming hawk with a ring dangling.
okay. I will, with purpose and confidence, use the door knocker to knock on the door.
Okay. All
trying
right.
to be polite and civilized about this.
And it is not long before the door cracks open, and you see a kind of a surprised face looking back at you. One you recognize because you have seen and spoken to Lord Tamberley before. But he looks very different than when you have seen him in the council. This version of him, his face is still very young, barely has like the slightest hint of stubble on it. Last time you saw him, I think he had kind of a wispy beard. Now he's shaved since then, but the stubble is starting to grow out a little bit. He is very sweaty, and there is like dirt across his forehead and on his cheek that you can only assume he is not aware of. He's wearing very simple clothing that similarly has dirt and sweat and things on it. And I think you can see that he is like holding, clearly forgotten about it, but he's holding a trowel in one hand as he answers the door.
No, is he hot? I know.
I don't know.
That's Quentin asking, not Kira. Kira's not.
No, I figured. Yeah, I get it. I get it. I guess that's up to. I guess that's what you're. I guess that depends what you're into.
I mean,
he answers his own doors. That's kind of a point in his favor. Not gonna lie.
He's less like right now he's giving less like sexy romance novel gardener and more like Hobbit a little bit.
But, like, if I remember correctly, like the Tamberley family in general is like not nobility. They're like nouveau riche merchants. Like they've elevated, right? Am I remembering that correctly?
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah, they've elevated to this status, but they weren't born with this status, which kind of like puts him at his own odds with some of the other members of the council.
Yes, correct.
Good morning. I was hoping you'd be up, but I didn't expect you to be working. Sorry.
Lady Blackwing.
We don't have to do that. We're peers.
Well, I suppose that does depend who you ask. But for me, if you would ask me, yes, of course we are. Whatever you'd prefer to be called.
Kelly, please.
Kelly it is.
This is Kira and Lindsay Ardane.
A pleasure.
Lindsay Ardane, I've met your brothers, but I don't believe our paths have ever crossed.
I do not believe they have. I would remember a face like yours.
Are you trying to flirt with him?
Yes.
Okay. He does not pick up on that, and that is, I think, when he realizes that he is dirty and sweaty. And he might have taken that like a dig. Where he's like, oh, goodness, I'm sorry. I was not expecting company this morning. Why don't you come in and have a seat in the drawing room, and I'll clean myself up before we discuss anything.
No, I love a man who works with his hands.
Okay, Lindsay.
We
Lindsay, I don't know if the man's had his coffee yet.
We are here on business.
We should help fix that.
Regardless, why don't you come in and have a seat?
Thank you.
And he will stand aside and invite you into his home. And as he does so, he will say, as long as we are throwing our titles at the window for the sake of familiarity, you can call me Leon.
Thank you.
And yeah, he will kind of gesture as he leads you in. He'll set the trowel down on like a little table off to the side where you can also see there's like a basket that has some vegetables sticking out of it that clearly haven't been washed or cleaned. A few other gardening implements, some gloves, etc., etc. This was not that. Everybody, you decided that he was hot. I didn't make him hot.
You made him very kind and sweet and vulnerable, and that makes him hot.
I made him nice. Why?
Okay, you are showing Lindsay that nobility doesn't have to be like all of the nobility that he's known. The moment you said this home looks lived in, you had Lindsay's attention.
He's just a little cozy guy. I just made a little cozy guy.
That's what Lindsay needs.
Cozy guys, Will. What are you talking about?
Listen, Raph's not here, so I don't know what you were expecting.
I feel not this, because Raph is usually the one.
I'm also here.
Raph's looking for a very particular...
that is also true, yeah. You did say, oh no, is he hot? All right. Well, either way, he'll take you inside. He passes his gardening stuff, and he gestures off to the side room, the drawing room, where you can see a lot of furniture, a lot of books on the walls. The house is similarly lived in and very cozy. The furniture clearly looks like it has been used. It's not just there for decoration, and it all looks very comfortable, not just a display of wealth. There is like art and some portraits on the wall, but similarly, none of it is like extravagant. Clearly, mostly just family members. Interestingly, I think the more of it that there is, the less the quality is visible. Like there is a portrait of, I think the first one you see is probably a slightly younger Leon Tamberley, standing with presumably his parents. In the frame, and that one is like very masterfully done. But as you see that there are other portraits that have been painted over the years, presumably of his more distant relatives and ancestors, the quality deteriorates pretty rapidly, and some of them are not in the best of conditions either. Yeah, let's see. He'll show you into there, and he'll say, "Would you care for anything? Breakfast, tea?" I'm afraid there's no staff here at the moment, but I'd be happy to whip something up.
We don't want to put you out.
Oh,
we did drop in unexpectedly. So.
Not at all. I'll make something simple, and I'll just be a few moments.
Would you like any help?
That's quite all right. I would. My mother would turn in her grave if she heard that I was being such an ungenerous host.
Well, if I'm honest, I do not know that I would have the first idea of what to do in the kitchen.
Then why offer?
It's quite all right.
Studying this man.
It's quite all right. Just make yourselves comfortable. I'll be back soon.
Okay. So when he goes off, Lindsay, keep it together.
What does that mean?
It means that you are panicking and you're falling apart, swooning over this man.
Is it that obvious?
Yes. So obvious. Mm-hmm. You offered to help in the kitchen when you have no idea what you're doing.
I'm trying to be useful. That's why people keep me around, because I'm useful.
Ooh, there's a lot to unpack there. And I don't have the emotional capacity right now.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Is there anything any of y'all want to do while you are waiting for Leon to return?
I think Lindsay does just say to Kelly,
Yeah, Justin, fucking grip
as
it and
he's
rip it,
studying
baby.
the room,
Slop
is just
that
like,
down, dude.
"Hey, Violet, did you
Dude,
know
crack one for the big boy.
you could use furniture?"
Yeah, Justin, fucking grip it and rip it, baby. Slop that
I had
down,
heard that.
dude.
I had heard that,
Yeah,
Lindsay.
dude, crack one for the big boy.
It's nice to see, isn't it?
It really is.
Thank you for the donation. We're still getting the double alerts, and I don't know why that's happening. I don't like it, but I'll try to figure it out later.
What do you mean you can use furniture?
I mean that it's not just for decoration.
He doesn't even look at Lindsay. He looks at Kelly. There's a...
When this is over, next time we go through Kalefell, remind me to show you what the inside of the Ardane mansion looks like. That will explain. Have you ever been in a museum? Have you ever been in like a mausoleum?
Yeah.
It's Lindsay's house.
That is my house. Well, it's my father's house, but yes, that is my house.
Okay, I need you to understand. Okay. I'm Tua. And what you just described to me is the saddest upbringing I've ever heard.
Yeah. Not wrong. Absolutely not wrong. I think Leon is probably gone for like 20 minutes or so. And then when he returns, he has freshened himself up. He's washed the dirt off of his face and the sweat. I think you can see that his hair is like still wet. So presumably he bathed, I guess. And his clothes look much more, they look much more clean, but he's clearly not dressed for like the council meeting or anything like that. Like you can see that he has the like the base layers, I guess you'd call it, but like his vest isn't buttoned up or anything like that. He's still definitely enjoying the comfort of his own home. And he has a tray with him that I think probably just has a few like small cakes, like scones, like not like fancy cakes, but just like very sort of hearty fare, as well as some cups and a very warm teapot as well. I'm not doing anything. He's just being a good host.
Exactly.
It tells you what kind of people that Lindsay's has been running with.
Yeah. And he'll start pouring the tea and handing the cups out. Please help yourselves, and I hope I didn't give any impression that I was not enthused to see you visiting me, but
No, it's all right. Again, we are unannounced. I think you've been more than generous with us, given that we've shown up first thing in the morning.
well, I apologize. There's been a good deal of cleanup in the aftermath of the horrific events that took place in the city, and I'm afraid that the grounds have fallen into neglect. I was taking the opportunity this morning to rectify that, catch up on some of the care. But I'm sure you've come for a reason.
Yes. The meeting today, the vote.
Regarding your legitimacy, yes.
Yes, and also to maybe just get an understanding of the lay of the land since we've been gone. And then I kind of like look at Kira and Lindsay, who are neither of the people who were with me the last time I was here, and she just goes, "Since I've been gone."
Well, regarding today's council meeting, as I'm sure you're aware, I found myself in the position of being the head of the council quite by accident. One day, I was just another member, and then tragedy struck, as I'm sure you'll recall.
Mm.
I guess that what I mean to say is that my family is not of the aristocracy in the traditional sense. Our fortune, their fortune, they made through trade. And what I mean by that is that it's not my interest or intention or place, as far as I am concerned, to stand in the way of traditions. If the people of Stormhold have put their trust and their faith into you, Kelly, I don't mean to stand in your way.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It is comforting to know that I have people who understand beyond their own ambitions.
I can't say that I understand fully the myriad of traditions and culture and rules that dictate the council and high society in general. But in my time, I have learned one very important thing, which is to trust my instincts.
It is a good rule to go by. I have reason to believe that one of the things that Mance might try to use to question my legitimacy is rumor of some of my past activities. The general rumor of people who live in Stormhold, the rumor that carries, but then I think it is important that there's people on the council who know what it's like to have to survive in this country, in this kingdom. And I don't imagine any of the members in Mance's camp would be able to if they were suddenly dropped without warning in this place.
Does seem unlikely.
What are the odds that there are members? You know the council better than I do. How many people do you think would be swayed by that argument from him? That I'm from Stormhold and I've done questionable, terrible things to get by.
I don't think that it would be a general accusation that would sway anyone, but perhaps specifics. Have you stood trial for any of these crimes? Would you be able to prove any of these actions?
I've been questioned, but I've never been held.
You and your fellows, whom I hope are well, considering their absence, hold a great deal of social capital, shall we say. You are well regarded. No one has forgotten what you've done and what you did when the city was under attack. The way that you saved people. Stories still reach us of the liberation of Barrow. I think it would take something quite drastic for Mance to sway the general council against you. There are some that are loyal to Mance and will back him regardless.
Where would you place, just as a general feeling, where would you place the councilman from Barrow?
Councilman Ingevere.
Yes.
I have not had much occasion to speak with him in a social setting. Truth be told, I've had very little interest. It's quite unsettling.
He is. He does that on purpose, I'll have you know.
But he does appear to be almost impressively professional. I've not seen any indication of passion or bias guiding any of the votes that he has put forth or the items to be voted upon. Which I suppose is another way of saying that if he believes having you on the council will benefit his agenda and Barrow's agenda. I think it unlikely that he would be a barrier.
And then I just have one more question. How soon do they want to try to go to war? And I say this knowing that in this conflict, we might not get the choice if something happens from the other side. But where does this side stand?
Roll me a persuasion check.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
And I think you can make that at advantage.
Good, because my persuasion is -1.
Well, you aren't a politician.
Okay, that's good. Because one of these is a 17 and one of these is a 5. So
All right.
16. 16 persuasion.
16 is good. If I can be quite candid with you, Mance has been trying to push this vote for some time now. Thus far, there hasn't been adequate cause for alarm to make a declaration of war formally. But things have been escalating. There's a chance that once the vote takes place today, regardless of whether or not you are put on the council or not, Mance will try to force a vote of war declaration. Some of the stories that I've heard coming up from the south might be used as fuel to light that fire.
Yes, baby. What is it? I'm
Avalon,
in a
bro,
conference.
chill.
The boy.
The boy. Was he doing his baby screams?
That was baby screams.
With
Yeah.
baby screams, yeah.
Yeah.
Please don't try to go in that hole. Don't do it.
He's going to get his paws caught in the sewing machine instead.
That
Here. Okay, goodbye.
There he goes.
this wouldn't be a war. It would be a slaughter.
On which side?
Yours.
Ours.
I don't disagree. I have no fondness for war. I have no hope that it comes to that. Obviously, there hasn't been one within my lifetime. Regardless, Mansardane is dead set on seeing it come to that. He is a man who has rarely been disappointed in his life. Lindsay's like, that hasn't been my experience.
Yeah, Lindsay's like, except by me.
He's like, I don't know. I don't know about that.
He seems disappointed all the time.
Tim.
Like every time he talks to me.
No, poor baby. This poor lad.
Sorry, hold on. This is one of the not 4 times where he can't figure out the door. He's being very mad.
I still can't
Well,
believe that
yeah.
Julia taught him to open doors.
I mean, have you tried teaching Nancy?
No, because that would end terribly.
I
Then we'd be
will
mid-academy H, and she would just launch herself into my face.
listen. That may be our reality extremely soon because I'm picking Frodo up on Friday, and that's a curtain.
Oh dear.
There is no way
Yeah.
to keep him out of this room unless I like shut him up in the bedroom, or like maybe if I put up a baby gate. I don't know.
He's very small. He might not be able to manage a baby gate.
Not at first. We just kind of have to cross our fingers and hope that he is not a loud boy. Or we'll be doing a lot of pausing for edits in future Academy H recordings, which is fine. I will also likely be putting his litter box somewhere over there, so for added fun.
Oh, cats.
We love them.
Mm-hmm.
We do.
Already named him Frodo. That's so cute.
That's what the vet text named him.
It's a good name.
It is a good name.
It's a solid name.
It could change. I have not seen his personality yet, but that's what the vet text named him. They said he seemed like a Frodo.
I don't know. It seems like the universe says it has to stay Frodo, though.
That's true. I did go to a bar the same day that I said that I would get him, and they were showing Lord of the Rings.
Oh, okay. So then,
Absolutely. You're not allowed to change it.
Yeah, it does seem to be the case. I'm very excited though. Anyway, yeah. I'm certainly not in favor of it coming to war. But I will say for my part, for the last several weeks, I have been watching us grow closer and closer to that eventuality. Unless something changes.
Well, a question, and this might also be like my brain not holding on to pieces of information because it's been a time. Would it make sense for me to roll to gauge why my father would be so invested in war as a possibility?
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think that could be insight.
All right, that is a 19.
Okay, 19 is very good. I think that there are a lot of potential reasons, and you're not exactly certain what the percentages break down to. On the one hand, your father is not xenophobic. Your father is also very stubborn, and maybe does believe like this is a war of two sides escalating, right? Because on the one hand, the Dagda wants war, and on the other hand, Mansardane wants war, and to some degree, Mansardane probably believes, because of who he is, that you might actually win that war. Despite anyone telling him otherwise. War is also, generally speaking, good for business.
I'm filing those away in my head.
Okay.
Is there anything else we need to discuss? Or should we? Oh, I suppose you've cleaned up now, so no more gardening for you.
No, I believe I'll likely be heading to the council meeting from here.
Would you like an escort?
Well, it is a lovely day. I suppose we could make the journey together.
I know you had mentioned that there's a lot of work to do around this house. It seems like a lot for one person. You could let me know if you ever would like some help gardening.
That's terribly generous. I could not possibly impose on someone of your social stature to take place in to take part in such menial tasks as that. I find comfort in it and I enjoy it, but I do have a staff. They just they don't live here in the house. They're not always. I like my privacy.
Lindsay's very teachable and also needs positive friendships.
And you wouldn't be imposing since I offered.
Have you done much gardening?
Absolutely not. But like Kelly Violet said, I am very teachable.
Well, if you have an interest, of course you'd be welcome to stop by, and I'd be more than happy to show you.
I would love to learn how to work with my hands.
I see.
Go on, Kira. Go on, Q. Say what you want to say.
Okay. Is this the proper lordly thing where you're not supposed to say the quiet parts out loud?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Okay.
mm-hmm.
Then I won't.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, what are we talking about?
What were you about to say, Kira?
Gardening?
I think we should let Leon finish getting ready before we head.
I just need to grab my coat, and then I will be ready to go.
Excellent, good.
And he will take the tray and the cups and presumably remove them to the kitchen. And as he does so, he'll go upstairs. And you'll hear him take some steps up the stairs to get his coat.
Listen, Kira, this could be good for him.
Which is why I didn't say the quiet part out loud.
What was going to be the quiet part?
That you're interested in more than just gardening. That
is true.
That this was an attempt at flirting that was not going well because he has not realized.
He hasn't?
No.
It's very early, Lindsay. It's very early. He's just met you. There's time.
Also, he seems very sweet, which means probably also oblivious.
Do those two things tend to go together?
Yes.
I might need both of your help in that case. Later, not now. There is too much else going on.
Okay.
Are we ready to go then?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Excellent. And yeah, he rejoins you. He has he's wearing the sort of overcoat that I think you have seen him wear in the past at the council meetings. The vest is now fully buttoned up. There's kind of a little bit of a tight look. The neck of it is closed up as well. There's sort of a cravat situation, and the sort of blue and gold embroidered jacket that appear to be colors of his family based on the decor around you over that. And yeah, he will walk you to the door and lock it up behind as you set off across the grounds. And as you go, he'll sort of be talking. Probably like he starts off, I think, talking to you a little bit about the garden, Lindsay, as you're going sort of off the top of his head, telling you a little bit about what he's been doing and what he's been growing and what the different flowers are. And he'll as he's doing that for all of you, he'll say, my family have actually lived here for almost as long as Calderon proper has existed. They settled this land long time ago, but for a very long time, there's barely more than shacks and homes that every generation be built, and then they would deteriorate and then be rebuilt. And I believe it was my great grandfather who built the house that originally stood where, and he'll sort of gesture to the manor behind you and say, and then once, of course, my grandfather started making his fortune, the house was, well, as you can see, expanded upon.
It
Seems-
truly is a beautiful house.
Seems awful large for just one person.
My parents are both gone now, but it can get a bit lonely. But it feels far stranger to have people living there just waiting on me, hand and foot. It's a large house, and I'm afraid I'm not much for cleaning. It slips my mind, so it's helpful to have people come by and take care of that. But as far as living there, I prefer the privacy.
Well,
Perhaps visitors would be a good balance.
It is a bit of a journey. I don't receive many visitors. Truth be told, I often find myself at odds with the culture of Calderon itself, but it is home. Visitors might be very welcome.
It certainly is a home.
insight.
Okay.
I want to see if he's picked up anything yet.
Okay. All right.
Kira's like,
Cool
you
bean.
cannot be this obtuse.
I need to know. I need to know dirty 20.
With a dirty 20. With the dirty 20, Leon Tamberley is very good at not giving anything away. He has a very good poker face.
Mm-hmm.
but I think you can determine with a 20 that he has picked up on this because he's not blind. And I think he is. I think you can tell that he's like amused by Lindsay's efforts, and I don't think you can pick up on whether or not he's interested or not. But I think you can see that he thinks this is funny, if nothing else.
Okay. Well, funny is devastating. So we're.
It's like, ooh.
I mean, like funny in like a way where he's like, this is cute, this is endearing.
Okay. It's charming.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Yes. It's important, the distinction.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay.
That's fair.
Okay. I'm going to let it go because, again, we're not supposed to say the quiet thing out loud because we're proper or something. Don't know what that means.
It's too early in the daytime. We can revisit the Henri after like the brandy nightcaps. That's
for sure. And so yeah, you accompany him through the woods along the path until it starts turning back into the urban section of the city. And yeah, then you make your way back up the stairs towards the keep, presumably, unless you are parting ways with Leon Tamberley, letting him go to the keep and doing something else. That's up to you.
I think at this point it's kind of like I want to get this part over with so that we can devote the time to the other things.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I think like, you know, like Kelly's, as far as Kelly needs getting ready, she's mostly done. She might go put on the bird cape that Max so lovingly crafted for her. But other than that, she's pretty much, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Well, when you
it's like, yeah, I guess I will part ways with him when we get into the keep to go get ready, but then it'll be pretty much right back down to the council chambers.
Okay, cool. That is very cool. And yeah, you part ways with Leon Tamberley. He inclines his head to you, says, well, Kelly, I look forward to seeing you at the council meeting just a short time from now. Of course, I will adopt your formal title. Seems only proper.
Yes, I imagine in this context, this is when it is necessary.
Yes, quite so. Be well, and Lindsay, let me know when you want to pick up gardening.
I will certainly be in touch, Leon.
And he will walk off in the direction of, I guess, probably the dining hall at this point, since it's still a little bit early. Kelly, you are returning to your chambers to prepare yourself for the meeting.
Yep. Okay. Get some stress pets out with Avalon, scream into my pillow.
Right.
Get dressed.
Exactly what you would normally do.
Yep. Make sure all the knives are where the knives are supposed to be.
Very cool. Very cool. And I think it is as you are getting ready that there is a knock on your door. And when you open it, there's kind of a nervous looking page you'd be able to recognize from the way that he's dressed from the council, holding a folded or probably like a rolled bit of parchment in one hand. Lady Blackwing?
Yes?
I've been instructed to deliver this message to you. The time for the meeting has been pushed back. Not by much, but apparently some travel delays have occurred. Only by about an hour or so.
I will take the message and unfold it to see what the specifics are.
It basically does say that. It's just sort of a copied missive presumably sent out to all of the council members, letting them know that the meeting has been pushed back.
I was under the impression that Councilman Ardane would be back sometime yesterday evening. Has he not yet made it to the city?
I don't know the specifics, my lady.
Thank you.
Of course. Callie,
Mm-hmm.
what's your passive insight?
My passive insight. +4, which means my passive is 13.
Okay. I think you can tell that this messenger is nervous, but that might just be from talking to you, or maybe he's new. It's hard to say.
Well, I'm ready regardless, so I'm going to go down to meet with the other council members who are still downstairs with Mirrodin.
Okay. Very cool. And
probably stick with Mirrodin and see what's up with the
for sure.
this note.
You have dressed for the council.
Yes.
Are you doing anything other than the feather cloak? It's your chance to make an impression.
Fit check.
It is a fit check.
It is a fit check. So
Halt.
I think
this is a fit check.
I think so. The thing is, Kelly doesn't own that many clothes, and the majority of her like nicer things are at the Wayside Inn. So they're not even like here. But I think what she would have done is she probably would have washed up so that she's like fresh and freshly braided her hair and put the flowers in. She's not going to do the eye black that she would typically do. A bad choice. But I think it is like okay, so what I will say is it's like the nicest pair of pants she has. She's cleaned her boots. I will say she probably went and absconded with one of probably like Edmund's nicer like shirts that he would be like wearing for like his meetings and things like that, so that it is a little bit more like presentable. And then so she probably the real sticking point that I'm having is whether or not she would have put like after she put on all of this clothing, if she would have put her like armor back on is the real question. And I think
that is
given
a real question.
everything that Kelly is and everything that she has presented herself to be as, like, I think she would.
Okay.
So she's freshly washed. She's wearing the nicest of the things that she owns. She's wearing Edmund's shirt, her armor, and the cloak.
Hell yeah. All right. Very cool. Very cool. That sounds great. I do love the idea of the fit check reaction. I think we might implement that. That's very cool.
Hell yeah.
But anyway, yeah, you fully dressed up with Kira and Lindsay, presumably. I don't know if either of you are doing anything to get fancy for the meeting, but
my other sleeve is on my arm.
Okay.
So I'm not just out with, with the titty out. So
Right,
I guess
yeah.
that's something. Other than that, no, I don't really have fancy attire.
It's fair.
Any shopping I would have done for that yesterday got taken because apparently I wasn't in my body.
I mean, you were there. You were along for
just
the
a
ride.
commercial
Sounds like
break.
a personal problem.
Hey babes. Hey babes. You don't want this smoke.
I don't know. Do you want to? Would Lindsay offer Kira something from their wardrobe?
Oh, a makeover?
I could give Kira a makeover
It
if
could
Kira
be.
wanted that.
It could be.
What? Why?
So that you are even hotter?
I don't. Is it going to help Kelly's case?
Lindsay, there is one thing you have learned in your life growing up or surrounded by wealth and privilege. It's that people listen to hot people.
And I think that is exactly what Lindsay says.
Fine. Nothing too constricting. I still need to be able to move and punch your father in the face if it comes to that.
That is fair, and I would not deprive you of that opportunity.
Thank you. Okay. So what's Lindsay's general style?
I mean, twink boy all the way, which is not
Okay.
your style whatsoever.
Not even remotely. Okay.
I will admit that since watching Schitt's Creek, I can only picture Lindsay Ardane as like D&D David Rose.
Absolutely. That is the vibe of the wardrobe that you see. You're not quite sure how he even brought it, because like you do not see him traveling with belongings, but there are so many clothes.
Oh God. Okay. So, Kira is wearing a pair of like high-waisted, like wide leg pants. They're white. The shirt is like open, like down to middle of the chest. Like definitely can have a bit off the shoulder, but it's sitting just ever so perfectly. There has been jewelry added, like several rings, very David Rose, and a couple of chains. However, there's still the leather cord with the Wayne Gretzky Dakota ring.
I'm so
and I
glad it's not a
think-
mouth guard.
It's not a mouth guard. It's not a mouth guard. We decided against it, so yes.
It's true.
Yeah. So I think, and it's a mixture, so yeah, black top on, black to match his skin, because fucking we ball. And then silver for the accessories.
Love that.
No, gold, black, white, gold. That's the fit. Yeah, it's gold accessories.
Does Kira allow Lindsay to do any makeup on him? Because he's got it all. He's got eyeliner, he's got eyeshadow, he's got body glitter.
So much body glitter.
So much body glitter. If you touch me with that glitter, you will lose an arm.
I would rather not, so I will not.
Okay. So then I think in gold, because his skin is so dark, there's definitely wings. He's got the Fenty glow on the cheeks. And I think I think the lips are left alone. Just I think that's one of those, like, he tries it and immediately feels bad on his mouth and he's like, I hate this.
He's like, I'm just
but
gonna think about this the entire time it's there.
I can feel it. It's touching my skin weird and everyone can tell. But yeah, absolutely.
Nice. And Lindsay, I assume, also is serving.
He is. He doesn't change much from what he was wearing when they went to visit Leon. I think it's actually a little surprising that, well, finely cut and tailored, his clothes aren't meant to make a huge statement. There's almost a sense that he is downplaying his own appearance and trying not to get as much attention on him. So he is wearing very tight and well-fitted black pants and a purple button-down with a vest over it. He has added some makeup, but I think Kira would notice he actually... You're not quite sure why, but there is something that looks more muted about his appearance than it did earlier when you were at Leon's. Like he's almost turned the glow down.
What? Why? Just points at you and goes, why?
I don't know why everyone always asks me that.
So sad all of the time. Why did you dim yourself?
Was that Steph?
That was Steph.
For what?
You okay, bud?
What was said?
Because I asked why.
Oh yeah, okay.
It was like,
No, I recognize that you were laughing. I just wasn't sure what was said. Normally, I know, like, something happens and I'm like, oh, Steph's gonna scream about that, but I wasn't sure.
That's fair.
Yeah, no. And I had to stay muted because she was still screaming. So Lindsay, I think your question actually catches Lindsay off guard, Kira, because you say that and he kind of frowns and looks down at himself and sees that he's wearing the exact same clothes that he was before. And if anything, he has added a bit in terms of eyeliner and some eyeshadow and some contouring to make his cheekbones stand out more. And so I think after a few moments of like kind of looking down at himself, looking in the mirror, looking back at you, he just asks, what do you mean?
You've grown smaller in your own body.
I have?
Yes. Moments ago, you were sparkles and sunshine and just so happy to be here. And now you're complacent, muted.
Well, we are about to go see my father. And that is what he expects of me. I don't actually think he expects much of me.
So then why change things about yourself for a man who doesn't care or expect anything of you?
Because I didn't realize I was doing it.
Oh. Okay. All right. Well, think about the fact that you're going to see Tamberley very soon.
I am, aren't I? He didn't give me a number. How do I contact him about the gardening?
What is a number in this situation?
I don't actually know what his house number is. How do I write him?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know where we were, but how do I get there?
There are pages, right? You just have someone deliver a letter.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So think about the fact that I am going to be seeing him again.
Right.
I'd like to see him again. He's very kind.
Yeah. And grounded, which is unusual for nobles, I found.
Do you think he's fascinating? I think he's fascinating. Should I tell him that I think he's fascinating?
Maybe when you have a moment alone.
With him?
You're panicking again. Okay. Breathe. It's just words.
You know, Kira, I'm actually usually pretty good with words, but they seem to fail when it comes to Leon.
Write them down.
Write them down. Right. That, Kira, that is a brilliant idea. I write them instead of saying them.
Right. And then you
And
can
then I can
send them
breathe.
in. Right. And you can send them in the letter. Or you can read them out loud to him in person. That seems more daunting to me.
I think sending them is a good idea. Because then he has the choice of whether or not he wants to respond. And I do not make it awkward for either one of us to be standing in that room if he decides that he does not like my words.
That is very fair.
This was a good talk, Kira. You are a good friend.
So are you, Lindsay.
That seemed to pain you to say, which I am very used to, but I appreciate it.
Not painful, just new. I don't let many people in.
And thank you for sharing this moment with me.
You're welcome. Now, we should go. Kelly's got a big talk.
I think Kira. I think not Kira. Sorry, I think for everybody, if Lindsay might not change, but like the accents seem a little bit brighter in the aftermath of that conversation. Less muted.
Agreed.
Kelly plus Entourage.
Well,
you
did I find when I left with the nervous courier to go find Mirrodin and everyone? Did I find them, and were they?
So you were going with the page?
Well, I was going. Well, I'm not leaving him here.
Well, so
That's
yeah, I
suspicious to
mean,
me.
I think he would have given you the letter, and then he would have scurried off because he has other things to attend to.
We fucked off.
That's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. But I am specifically looking for Mirrodin because I don't want to be late, and I'm also nervous, so I would have gone to find him.
I assumed you were taking Lindsay and Kira with you for that.
No.
Okay.
I'll come back. I'll come back for them. I want to verify this change first.
When you get down to the dining hall,
yes,
it is empty. I mean, there are a few people there still eating, but you don't see any of the council members.
I'm going to ask the first person I see where they are. I have my little note.
Sure. Yeah, I think you can find somebody who's wearing a page uniform, who is like taking a break down there, sitting there, eating something. And they will sort of furrow their eyebrows at you and say, but you received the note.
Fucking knew it.
The note that says that the meeting has been pushed back.
Moved up, milady.
Coming with me.
I'm sorry?
You're coming with me right now to the council chambers. Look at this note that I have in my hand. What does it say?
Well, I mean, this says that the meeting was moved back, but
That's
what
I
incorrect.
received. Yes, so you're coming with me.
For what?
You're coming with me. You will be okay.
Oh, okay. I'm not certain what okay.
You're coming with me so that you can verify that I was looking for the rest of the council to verify this letter. You're my witness. This is important.
All right. All right. I can't. Yep. Okay, milady.
I'm going to the...
I'll set down the oatmeal and stand up and
I'm
follow
taking
you.
this man with me. I'm going to the council chambers. My plan is take him, get in there, make sure I get in there, and then afterwards I can send him to go get the others.
Okay.
But I need this person whose job it is to send messages to stay with me so that I can send a message.
Sure. Fair enough. And so you follow.
Like, the second I got that letter, I was like, "Where's Mirrodin?"
Yeah, for sure. So you went, you found the page, you checked. Now you are making your way back up to the council chambers.
Mm-hmm.
And as you reach the doors, I think you can hear from inside just very sort of briefly. See here. I think you can hear a few things from inside. notably, I think what you hear is a voice that calls out loudly. I think you can hear this. You pause as you go to reach for the doorknob. You hear a voice call out loudly. This is ridiculous. She's obviously not here. And another voice answer much more steadily that says, regardless, we will follow proper council protocols. For the third and final time, Lady Violet Blackwing, giving you a chance to make an entrance.
Yes, I most certainly am. Kelly is gonna throw the door open, walk in, and not say anything, step directly to the head of the council, Tamberly, and drop the letter that says that the meeting was pushed back. I will say, who's responsible for the missives?
I'm afraid he will take it and look down at it and read it, and will shake his head and say, it is clear from the evidence before us. I mean, it is clear that you were given false information. This is identical to what the rest of us received, but with one change.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, short of questioning the page who delivered this to you, there's no way to know where it came from.
I don't want to waste any more of the council's time. I am just disappointed that our first formal meeting would be marred by such dishonesty.
Get him. Fucking get him.
And then Kelly is going to turn to the page who she brought with her.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, would you please go get my companions?
And looking relieved to just not be there anymore, he will nod and scurry off.
And then she's going to turn back and say, and which seat is mine?
And Leon Tamberly will gesture to one, which I think you'd recognize as the seat that Lord Blackwing sat in the last time you were present for a council meeting. Yeah, you can take your seat. And Tamberly will say as you do so, we are all in attendance. Council has been convened. Let us begin. There is business on the docket today. As the head of the Council of Calderon, I bring forth the matter of recognizing Lady Blackwing as a member of this council, as Lady of Stormhold, and therefore rightfully part of this governing body. The floor is open for debate. And probably unsurprisingly to you, it is Mansard Dane, who, seated across from you at the table, slides his chair back loudly across the floor and stands up and says, Well, I've I have no shame or qualms in speaking first, as I was the one who first raised questions about this. The tradition of Stormhold, which the entirety of its existence, if you were to ask me, could be a question brought before this council, given the state of affairs in that city. At the very least, someone defeating someone else in a contest of skill of arms is hardly a suitable method for selecting a governor. And I think that by the end of this council meeting, the majority will agree with me. And all eyes kind of turn to look at you, Kelly. Nobody is like calling on you because that's not how this works.
Mm-hmm.
But he said his piece, and do you have anything to say in return?
I think Kelly will stand a lot more with the kind of like quietness and grace that she has, rather than the dramatic, angry show of pushing my chair back and all that. And she will stand and she will say, the reason we do the things we do is because the people who care for the city as the governor care for the people there, need to let the people know that they will do everything in their power to keep them safe. And safety for many people isn't words and promises. It's action and care in the show that they are able to protect people. As I've shown the city that I care and protect them here, there, Halefell and Barrow, and anywhere else I have been asked by this council to go. I am protecting those people. They know through my single combat that I can do it. I've given them more proof, more tangible proof to have faith in me than I could say, if I chose to, about certain members of this council. Members of this council who might not even be here if it weren't for the fact that I care and protect people in this city. And I'm going to look right at Mansardane.
That's fine. Yeah, he meets your eyes and holds your gaze and then looks down at papers that are in front of him, but you don't know if he's actually reading off of something or if he's just acting. And he says, your heroics are well documented, Miss Violet, and appreciated by everyone across the kingdom.
Lady.
Of course. Lady. What do you do? Of course. Lady Violet. Your heroics are well documented, but could you tell this council anything that might qualify you for legislating or adjudicating or being involved in government at any level?
Somebody has to be aware of what the people actually want, what they need. As far as legislation, adjudicating all of those things, I would again question what a businessman knows of those things. How many
Well-
laws have you cared to pass since you've been put on this position? How much care have you shown this city, sir?
I would say that my record speaks for itself, but of course, if we are going to call businessmen into question, I believe technically that would mean calling more than half of this council into question, including our beloved head.
But
I was not asking about my qualifications.
and that is the thing. If we're going to question my qualifications, we could start a big, long argument about everyone's qualifications here.
We could.
Everyone here.
We could,
So
but
why
no
call
formal
mine?
protests were raised against any other member of this council's appointment.
I don't recall that being true. I do recall being able to speak my piece as well as Wayne being able to speak his piece against you during your appointment. You were contested, sir.
Formality, of course, but regardless,
A
there was a
recorded
vote.
fact.
Regardless, there was a vote, and I was, I'm blanking, but he doesn't pause. I was inducted to the council.
And besides the fact that you don't like the way that Stormhold conducts itself.
Certainly not a matter of opinion. I mean, it's a colorful place, don't get me wrong, a fascinating and very rich culture all its own, but the impact that it has on the rest of the kingdom, particularly the surrounding areas, I mean, can hardly be debated. It's a place that breeds crime and criminals. It thrives on violence. It's hardly safe for common man to walk the street without someone challenging them to a duel to the death. These are not the conditions under which a modern functional society thrives.
Your son is very comfortable there. It is surprising to hear.
Well, I would expect a claim like that to be backed up by some sort of witness or presence.
Would you like to speak with him?
I think that's a fair moment where we can say that the that Kira and Lindsay arrive.
Fucking go.
There's a knock on the door, which then opens, and the page steps to one side and lets Kira and Lindsay into the room.
Fucking hot as shit.
So hot.
So true, bestie. And there's a little bit of a rumbling from the assemblage. Nobody's really saying anything too loudly. Nobody's protesting for certain, but there's a rumbling of interest, shall we say. Mance keeps a very tight lid on his facial expressions, though you don't see him. If he looks shook, you're not seeing any evidence of it.
Can
Roll
I
it,
dig deeper?
roll it.
Inside, hell yeah.
Sure, go
Hell
for
yeah,
it.
brother. Hiya! Let's go. That's a 27.
Mance, his face is studiously neutral. You see a flash of something when you and Lindsay enter.
Mm-hmm.
It is not fear. It's satisfaction.
Mm. Hmm.
I appreciate that you came prepared, Lady Violet, but the people of Stormhold are hardly the ones on trial here.
No, but you're saying that Stormhold's position on this council is. And you're saying that Stormhold's position on this council is in question because it is such a terrible, awful place.
I'm saying that the methodology by which Stormhold chooses its lord, or lady, as the case may be, begets the same cycle of violence and villainy that currently plague it, and that a duly appointed leader, perhaps one selected by this council, might have more success in turning things around there. Though, as long as you have gone to the trouble to bring forth witnesses, I think there are questions that are pertinent to this discussion. Lady Violet, have you ever been involved in criminal activity yourself?
Yes?
Would you care to expand on that?
In my work prior to infiltrating and liberating Barrow, I stole supplies, which then were smuggled in. Nobody deemed the city worth helping. Except for the people.
A noble endeavor, to be sure. And everything that you ever stole went to helping the people of Barrow. Perhaps Councilman Ingevere could speak to this somewhat, as our representative from Barrow. And Marius gives a small, sort of almost shy smile as he says, I think it would be best if I recused myself from this line of questioning. Lady Blackwing is a hero to the people of Barrow, and as I am one such admirer, it would hardly be objective for me to weigh in. And Mance, maybe begrudgingly, sort of nods and says, but for your own part, then, Lady Violet, is that something you're prepared to swear to?
I am going to use one of the advantages that we got today.
Okay.
And I am going to lie.
All right.
I am going to roll deception.
Okay.
We should be at 3, not 1.
You're right.
We're not going back there.
That's true. So we'd be down to 2?
No, we would be down to 3.
Right, because there were 3 donations, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
and I will say what I'm going to say first before I roll it.
Sure.
And so what Kelly says is, I swear that everything that I ever stole was for the good of others.
Roll it.
Pray for me, friends.
No way.
No, we're okay. We're okay.
Okay.
We're not
okay.
having a Della moment of two
No.
ones.
No, it is not 2 1s on advantage. It is not 2 1s on advantage.
Oof.
Rest in peace, Stella.
It's
She's
big rough.
fine, but so one of them would have been a 13, which would have been a 12, and the other is a 19, which is an 18.
Okay. All right. 18 is good. I think you see general nods of approval from around the table when you say that. Some people are stone-faced, but the ones that are willing to give something away appear to be generally positive about that. And Mance seems to take that in as well. You see him glance around the table. His eyes narrow a little bit as he does so. And he says, "But what of the harm that you caused in the process?" Because to be clear, we're not speaking of burglary here. We're not speaking of empty houses that you entered illicitly and removed objects from. You stopped people on the road. You robbed them. At knife point. In some cases, you hurt them, even. As a matter of fact, as long as we have witnesses present, I would like to call forth Lindsay Ardane to provide testimony. All eyes turn to look at you, Lindsay.
And Lindsay, who I'm imagining has been standing with Kira near the door, folds his arms behind his back and walks forward. He does not look bothered to be called on in this way and just asks, "What questions would you have for me, Father?"
And Mansardane, there's a seat at the end of the table opposite Councilman Tamberley. So you're sitting across from Leon, just at the far, far end of the table with everybody else around you. This is the witness seat. You sit down in it, presumably. And Mance, all eyes turn to you. Like I said, Mance, your father, leans forward and says, "Have you ever been personally victimized by Lady Violet and her associates?"
Absolutely not.
Oh,
1 second. Okay. Lindsay, you are free to interpret this however you want. I have rolled an intimidation check from your father. I have given him advantage because that only seems fair. I have rolled a 22. You see an expression cross his face when you say that you have seen only a handful of times in your life, because generalized disappointment from your father is one thing, but you have rarely seen him truly furious at you, spitting mad, this is one of those moments. And he gives you that look and says, I would like to repeat the question for clarity. Has Lady Violet ever waylaid you on the road and stolen from you?
Real quick.
Yeah.
Can I be, like, the way that Lindsay is sitting, can I be in a position where he can still see me?
Yeah, I think so. I think that the way that I'm envisioning this room, it's mostly taken up by the table. Lindsay is sitting at one end of it opposite Leon Tamberley. The rest of the council are on either side of the table. I imagine it's pretty normal for them to kind of line potential witnesses up against the wall.
Okay.
So I think you can be standing along the wall where Lindsay can see you if he like turns his head. But yeah, basically yes. So yeah, if Lindsay, you can be where Lindsay can see you. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Then you just see him give you a nod. Just like eyes focused on you without saying, you could probably see him mouthing.
So I am going to take interpreting your words, Will, the way I choose to, but if we need to retcon when I am about to have Lindsay say, we can, because he takes a moment. He remembers to breathe, having been instructed to do that earlier. And he looks directly at Mance and says, well, Father, asking 2 questions does make that a little bit complicated. Have I ever been waylaid by Lady Violet? Yes, I suppose I did encounter her on some dark roads. But has she stolen from me? No. I gave her that money. And if I am to be frank, since I am here answering questions, I am a lot more frightened of you than I am of her.
You can tell that there is a lot that your father wants to say to you in that moment. And for a second, you think he might. For a second, you think he might blow the whole thing. You see his mouth open and close a couple of times, but
Can I roll with persuasion to make
Yeah.
that potentially happen?
Yeah, you can try, yeah.
Do it.
That was a fucking nat 20.
Let's go.
All right. All right. He opens his mouth and closes it a couple of times and says, you hear him say kind of like quietly, dangerously quietly, like he's like through gritted teeth, almost like, you ungrateful little, and then like stops himself from finishing it and says, I am done questioning the witness. Lindsay, formerly of the House Ardain, may step to the side.
And I think in light of that, Lindsay has the balls to say, you may have dismissed me, but you are not the head of this council. Are there any others who have questions for me?
Oh, shit. Oh shit.
Kelly's so proud. She's so happy. She's beaming.
I think Leon like laughs, like he cannot stop himself. He cannot contain the bark of laughter that escapes out of him, and he like composes himself very quickly as he inclines his head and says, "The witness speaks true. His testimony stands. If there are any other questions." And it's pretty clear to you, Kelly, that this is pretty much between you and Mance. Like the others are here to observe and eventually give their votes, but nobody seems to be particularly interested in jumping into the middle of this between you two.
They don't want the smoke.
I think given all that, all Kelly will do is she will sit forward a little bit in her seat and say, "Thank you, Lindsay."
Of course, Lady Violet, you will always have my respect.
Let's go.
Tensions are high in this room.
And then he will just stand and move off to the side.
All right.
I lied. He will look, in that case, to Leon and say, "Am I then dismissed, Lord Tamberley?"
The witness is dismissed.
Kelly's gonna just like look over at Mirrodin.
Mirrodin is not even, I think, trying to hide the great. Like he's got that beard. So it's a little bit like it's not the most obvious. Like he's not showing teeth or anything, but you can see that he's smiling. He's very amused by this, and he's very happy. This is going well, is what his face says to you.
Okay. I'm gonna. No, I gotta do it. I have to know. I gotta know. Has the vibe changed with Leon after Lindsay showed his ass in the fast
okay.
way?
All right.
Kira's
all
like,
right.
I got a vibe check. I got a vibe check.
Listen,
Yeah.
I have to know.
Roll an insight check.
Oh yeah. Cool. That is a 25.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I think there's a little bit of Leon being impressed. Definitely. It's before where it was like amusement and was like, this is cute. Like this is endearing.
Like, oh, look at this little noble. Now it's just like, oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that before there's like that difference between like when you're flirting with someone because they're cute and then they say something that's actually really interesting to you. The way that changes.
Like, oh,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
It's that.
Cool. So then, yeah, when Lindsay gets back over to me, just going to be I think he might find you interesting as well. Just very softly. So quiet. But yes.
Which I feel like Lindsay appreciates, because by the time he gets back to you, you can see his hands shaking. He is trying to hide it because he is still in the council room, but like you can tell that boy's gonna have a breakdown as soon as he's somewhere private.
Absolutely.
We're just gonna like put you down, plop Avalon on top of you like a weighted blanket.
Weighted blanket, absolutely.
And I think Leon will look around as silence has kind of fallen across the room and says, "Are there any other points to be made, arguments to be put before the council before the vote takes place?" And Mance kind of huffs and says, "Only to assert once again that this barbaric tradition from the city in the north cheapens this council and everything that it stands for. And that to get rid of it would already be far too late of an act. And, almost as soon as he is done speaking, Leon says, Was that the end of your point, council member?
Yes.
And Mance just sort of nods. Leon
Kelly,
says,
put me in, coach. Put me in.
Kelly, are you gonna say something?
Yeah, I was gonna say I will for her closing statement. Kelly will just say, "I understand that it is a tradition that seems foreign to this council. This council exists on traditions, and if you devalue and uproot one, then you leave every other tradition you hold so carefully dear vulnerable." The people of Stormhold, if they didn't trust me, if they didn't believe that I would take care of them and do right for the city and the kingdom, and if what Councilman Ardain claims about the city is true, I never would have made it out of the gates. But I am here. I take this seriously. I only ask that you take me seriously as well. And I will sit.
And you get. Do you want to roll a persuasion check?
I can roll a persuasion.
Okay.
Not the best with a -1. That's a 15.
Okay. 15 is good. 15 is solid. And as you finish your statement, Mirden is going to speak up and is going to say, to build off of Lady Blackwing, and he very deliberately uses your correct title. To build off of Lady Blackwing's point, I would like to remind this council that I was present when the traditions of Stormhold, the laws, were writ down in stone. They were created to avoid tyranny, so that no one man or woman could hold sway over the lives of many. That if an unjust ruler claimed that power, the people could take it upon themselves to unseat them. The rest of this kingdom could learn a thing or two. And I would further like to remind this council that it only exists in the absence of a king, and that it is only through traditions that it holds any modicum of power. People agreed with you, Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
They seem a little scared of Mirden. and what he has to say. And Leon nods at both of your statements, looks around again, says, barring any final words, I think we can vote. Nobody says anything. All those who stand in favor of Lady Violet Blackwing standing in the position of authority for the city of Stormhold and the North Lodge, and being a member of this council, say aye. And including you, Kelly.
I get a vote?
You do.
Nice.
Including you, Kelly. Well, that's an interesting point, actually. Huh?
Do I get a vote? I wasn't prepared to get a vote.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think since with this particular matter, I think you do not get a vote.
Mm-hmm.
But with you on this council, there are 9 people. There are 8 people voting on this particular issue. 5 of them say aye. Including, of course, Leon and Mirden and Marius. And Mance does not hide his disappointment particularly well, but he does make an attempt. Or maybe not disappointment, but frustration for sure. There is a scowl on his face as he sits there. And as a matter of format and tradition, Leon will say, and in somewhat pettily, will sort of direct this indirectly towards Mance, as he says, for the matter of public record, would the opposition like to register their votes with nays? And Mance clenches his jaw and says that won't be necessary. And Leon in the gesture of the council, Leon kind of brings his hands together, claps them together, and then spreads them apart and says, then based on the voting of this council, we are proud to welcome Lady Violet Blackwing into our ranks as a member of the Council of Calderon.
Thank you, Lord Tamberley. I look forward to working with each and every one of you.
Tamberley nods and starts collecting the documents and the books that are laid out in front of him. It's kind of his responsibility as well to keep notes, keep minutes for these meetings and record the votes of people and the matters that have been brought forth. And he is starting to gather them together. And as he does so, starts to speak and say, then for this day, the business of the council is completed. But before he can finish that thought, Mance is going to speak again and say, actually, now that we have a full council, I'd like to push for the issue of a war declaration. The situation in the South and across the kingdom if we're being honest with ourselves, is growing dire. We cannot afford to wait any longer. We've delayed the issue several times, citing that the council was incomplete, citing that until this business with Lady Blackwing was concluded, it wouldn't be a proper vote. But now it is. We shouldn't delay any longer. Leon's expression goes very neutral, and he stops putting the book away, and he lays it down on the table again. And he's not looking at you, Kelly, specifically, but he, very well. Your concerns are recognized. This is a matter for the council to discuss. To business, then. And then Marius interjects and says, perhaps we could take a recess. A chance to clear our heads. I think we all felt the tension in the room. Let that dissipate before we come together and let cooler heads prevail. Leon almost looks a little relieved as he says, I think that is an excellent idea. Thank you for the suggestion, Counselor. And I think a brief recess will do us all some good. So let's reconvene in, say, 20 minutes or so. Some of the council members don't move from their chairs. Some of them do. But Marius wastes no time getting up, making his way idly around the table, stopping behind you, Kelly, sort of leaning down to speak quietly in your ear. It says, a word, if you don't mind.
Certainly. And she will get up and go with him. Before she does, she kind of gives Kira and Lindsay a look. She gives that proud nod of approval and care. She will address this later. On her way out, though, she will say to Kira, don't let them make you leave. We need your testimony about this, what you've seen on the warfront. Don't let them try to make you leave.
Not a problem.
I will go step out with Marius. I will just say I am going to have to wrap up soon.
Yeah, absolutely. And he says, would you mind taking a stroll with me? Would that we could step outside, but alas, sunlight.
Of course.
And he will just sort of walk with you down the stairs into some of the lower levels of the keep. It says, well, you did well.
Thank you.
You might survive in politics after all.
I have been pretty good at surviving thus far.
And you know what comes next.
Is this where you're asking to use your vote so soon?
He's quiet for longer than you expect him to be, longer than he normally is. And he says, We all have strings, Kelly.
I still think this is a grave mistake. And again, war might still come no matter what we vote, and I just need more time with the others. We have a plan.
Would it bring you comfort if I said that I agree with you? Even though it changes nothing.
It makes me sad, but I'll vote with you. I'm not going to debate on the side of war.
I wouldn't ask you to. I am required to demand your vote. But if you can sway the other members of the council, that's outside of my control.
Does that include you?
You and me, Kelly Violet. Same strings.
There are strings and there are risks. And I guess the question will be in the end, which are you going to choose? The strings or the risks? We have a deal, Marius. I'm not going to try to weasel out of that. I am just saying that I'm also not going to forget the outcome of this.
I don't imagine you will. And perhaps that's for the best. You show some surprising aptitude for politics. But we both know that isn't where you're best. When all this is said and done, Kelly, when war comes to this kingdom, you'll have to save the world.
I mean, that was kind of what I ran my platform on back there.
Laugh at that. But today you vote for war.
Today I vote for war. And I'm gonna make you regret it. For the rest of your life.
That might make me feel a bit better about it. But no sense delaying the inevitable.
You better make a good argument, because otherwise you'll just be embarrassing me.
Welcome to politics, Kelly Violet. Survive this. You can survive anything. And I think that is where we will end this episode of Class Reunion. Thank you so much, everybody, for hanging out. Do you though?
You know what? You know what?
hate
His
him?
decision has solidified the fact that Cass is never getting what Cass wants out of this.
What does Cass want?
Yeah, what is it the cast wants?
Oh, have you not seen where Cass talks about how she wants the polycule to happen? I
Oh,
told her
the
no.
throuple?
Told her no.
That's fair. That's fair. Why not, though?
Because we hate him.
Because he sucks.
He feels bad about it.
I don't care.
Because I told him. It's like, this isn't going to go well for you. You make me do it, I'll do it. But then there goes your goodwill, bud.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair. That's what's happening here.
Here's your bridge burned.
Well, thanks for hanging out, everybody. We can go around and do outros. If do you have time for that, Julia?
Yes.
Okay, cool. We'll do that real quick, and then we will call it. We'll find somebody to raid if we can. Traditionally, it's been hard to find somebody streaming at this time of day, but we'll see what happens. Let's go ahead and get started with JD.
Hey, I am JD. You can find me on the internet at JD Not Jason Dean. Today I played Lindsay Ardane. I guess we're going to be removing the Ardane from his name next time we're back, since he has been formally disowned at this point. I am sorry for the little criminal who's making a lot of noise in the background. Nancy is at her limit and needs to be included. But in terms of what you can find me doing, tonight, potentially, I will be with Exquisite Corpse Presents for Sister Cities, our usually non-magical but currently magical D&D campaign. I will not be back on stream until next Wednesday, when I will be with Lost Caravan for Nova, where I just play a little guy who likes to wear like half a skull mask and is really normal and is having a great time. And then, very excitingly, next Saturday, premiere on Entropy Emporium of Kian's Invisible Sun campaign, Bloom in the Rot, where I will be playing just a little guy who's filled with demons. And it's so normal and it's so okay, and don't worry about it. And I do a lot of other things, but we won't list those because that would have us here all night.
Doesn't sound like it's any of those things. Normally Raph would be next, but Raph can't be with us today. Raph is not feeling well, but hopefully they will be back next time. It's Julia.
Hello, I'm Julia. You can find me at HexWad on all social media platforms. Today I've been Kelly Violet. Every other Sunday I am Lyra Kroll, and every other Thursday I am Lavinia Hale. Remember, ACAB does include Lavinia Hale. All of these things occur on this channel right here. I live here, I die here.
I mean, don't do that.
Don't.
There's no need for that.
Listen. If and when I die, that's something to worry about then.
Okay.
That's a future Julia problem that I don't understand.
Clearly. Q.
Hi, I'm Q. I was Kira today, the sassy boy who does not say the quiet parts out loud because he has more friends. This is fun and exciting. You can find me pretty much everywhere on the internet. What's up?
No, I was just gonna say it's kind of like saying, well, at least I didn't say this. Like you still said it. You still said the quiet part out loud by asking if you
Afterwards?
should say the quiet part out loud.
But I didn't say it though.
Okay,
I
all right.
didn't
Fair
say
enough.
it's fine. It's
Okay.
fine.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can find me pretty much everywhere on the internet at Midnight Inc. That's midnight_INQ. Q is my name. I'm sure you get it. Save a horse, ride a cowboy. I keep making cowboys. I'm all over the place. You can find me a bunch of times here, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. You can find me at Entropy Emporium on the alternating Tuesdays from when I'm here. And then every Sunday over at RPGs Uncovered. There's too much, so I'm not going to explain it all. Just come find me.
Yeah. And hello. Hi, my name is Will. I ran this game, and I run a bunch of other things, including Academy H, our Masks Actual Play podcast, which we will not be recording a new episode of tomorrow, but there will be a new episode coming out on streaming platforms, and it's fully edited and soundscaped and all that good stuff. Form, it's part 3 of our new arc, Fathers and Sons. It's going to be very good. Check it out. You can hear Julia perform a musical number, kind of, in the post credits, which I missed when we were recording this episode because I was away from the computer. But I sure did hear it in the editing process, and I messaged Julia. I messaged Julia, and I was like, "I'm so sorry for this, but this is going to be the post credits."
It's been found. I thought it would never be found.
I was like, I have no choice. It's not up to me. I'm sorry I don't make the rules, but this is going to be the post credits.
This does seem correct. Yes.
Oh my god, I thought we'd lost that to the ether.
Nope.
Honestly, I was kind of hoping it was one of the episodes. I didn't remember when it was. I was honestly hoping it was one of the episodes where like the backup failed.
Nope, it did not. It's tomorrow's episode. And then kind of a busy week. It's been quiet for a while. Tuesday we will be playing Nephilim Tenebris, Fates Willing, our space game. You can catch Q there. You can catch me there running the game, and a bunch of other great people. It's a near future gritty sci-fi game about a group of burned out gifted kids trying to stay out in space and not get caught by the cops. If you hate cops, you'll like that game. And then Thursday, the 4th of July, you can catch the premiere of God Complex on Entropy Emporium, which is a game that I'm very excited about. There's a trailer out there if you want to check it out, which I made and was a lot of fun. It's a game about piloting mech suits made from the corpses of dead gods in a desperate bid to save humanity that you will probably fail. It'll be a lot of fun. You should check it out. Everybody is very normal. And then the weekend is quiet. Sunday, we will be recording a new episode of Academy H still with our guest, Kian, because that arc is a little bit longer than we expected it to be, but that's still very good, and nothing wrong with that. Monday, July 8th, I'm running a rescheduled one-shot on Just the Humans channel of Fist. It got canceled last time because people were not feeling well. It was going to be a Pride one-shot. Now it is going to be for Save the Children, I believe. But Monday, the 8th at 8 p.m., you can check that out. And then I think the last thing that I need to plug is that Tuesday, the 9th, I will be on Chaotic Wholesome's Table Talk Show, hanging out and getting interviewed and talking about stuff at 5:30 or 6 p.m. I'm not sure. Anyway, that's everything that I have going on in the near future. It's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of things happening. Also, I'm getting a cat. So you can follow me at @AWillMScream on all social media if you want to see pictures of a cat, which you do. Let's be honest with ourselves. We're going to disappear in just a second, but we're going to raid our friends over at Lost Caravan, who are streaming early today, thankfully. So we actually have somebody to raid. Follow along, be friendly, say hi. I think that's most of the stuff and the things that I have to talk about. There's social links in the chat if you want to follow us. There's a Discord link if you want to join that community. It's a great place full of great people. We would love to have you be a part of it. But I think with all that being said, it's going to do it for us here. So say goodnight, everybody.
Goodbye,
night,
everybody.
everybody.
Goodbye, everybody. Not good night. Anyway, thanks for hanging out.
Good night.